Emmanuel Macron confirmed that the EU would launch a devastating energy embargo against the UK if Boris Johnson refuses to give in on fisheries. Emmanuel Macron reacted furiously to Boris Johnson's claims that trade talks are over between the UK and EU. Mr. Macron has played hardball in the talks on fisheries, insisting on Thursday that French fishermen would not be sacrificed for the sake of a deal. However, if the UK leaves the EU without a deal, then French fishermen could face being banned from British waters. In response, the French president has signaled the EU would launch a devastating energy embargo against the UK unless Boris Johnson gives in on fisheries. Following the EU summit in Brussels on Friday, Mr. Macron told French radio that if the UK does not allow French fishermen in its waters, the EU would have to block the UK's energy supplies to the European market. He suggested the right to fish in British waters was worth €650 million to EU fishermen, but that access to European energy markets was worth up to £2.3 billion €2.5 billion to the UK. RTE Europe editor Tony Connolly noted, "They have tried to up the ante on fishing." He explained to the RTE podcast Brexit Republic, "They have been looking at energy and the fact that the UK still wants to access the Europe's single energy market by selling their energy, and gas, and electricity into the European grid. That is something that is very valuable to the UK." Macron confirmed this in his press conference after the summit. "So what they are saying is like for like. They are not saying that energy will suddenly be held hostage to get a deal on fisheries, but it will be held hostage. There is definitely a linkage there." He also remarked how Michel Barnier had recently changed his tone, from trying to pressure Mr. Macron to back down on fishing to suddenly taking a tough line on fisheries. Mr. Connolly said, "Barnier changed his tone on fisheries, saying we can't sacrifice fishing communities just to get a deal. He formerly tried to pressure Macron to back down. Member states know they will lose quota. It is the reality bites moment. But Barnier has to be seen to go in hard, to say they did everything they could."